I am Elisabetta and I live in Houston, Texas since 1999. And I am a translator. Translator is someone who transports written text in one language to another language. And but it's not so simple. I actually made my degree thesis about translation and what it is a translation. I translate from English into Italian because that is my language. And to translate, you need to know very well the language you are writing into, because you need to know all the nuances of the language. And I discovered this when I was in college, because in particular, because I had seen a play by Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest, during high school in English. And I found it hilarious and fun. And then I went again during college to see it, but in Italian this time. And it was not as much enjoyable as before. And I wondered why. Is it because I grew up and I have a different taste of things? Or perhaps something was missing in the translation? And I actually asked my professor in college to work on this question when we prepared the thesis for my degree. And we discovered that you really need to care for the little details and understand the little nuances that make a text. So I was really fascinated by this work that you need to do to allow somebody who doesn't know a language to enjoy a work of art in the other language. So I always had this idea of being a translator in my mind, but soon after I graduated from college, I got married and came to Houston, where I could not work. My visa allowed me to live here, but not to work. So I decided to volunteer at the local Italian-American Chamber of Commerce, that at the time was very small, just one employed person and a few of us volunteering. And I decided to take care of the translation part. So I worked for free, helping people to have their documents translated for different reasons. And again, I found it very, very nice. Then I stopped doing this job because kids came up, and I decided to dedicate my life to the family until 2008. In 2008, we got a green card, and I had the chance to start working. I immediately found a job with a translation company that dealt with oil and gas documentation. It was not a very interesting field for me, but it was a beautiful occasion to learn how to do the job of translating, how to deal with clients, with deadlines. I worked with them for 2 years and a half. And then I got pregnant, and I decided to move my work from the office to home and become a self-employed translator, which allowed me to dedicate my time to my baby and my other kids, the family, but also to go on with this passion that I had. I started working in two different fields. One is the one that I like the most, which is the literature, translating novels or books that have a meaning to me and that I desire for the Italian public to have a chance to read and to enjoy. And this job is very, very interesting, very, very hard, again, because of what I was saying before, because you don't just have to transcribe a text into another language, but you need to study it and understand how to make it clear and to bring the same meaning, the same fascination that there is in the original language. So I decided to move my work at home because I had this baby, because I was going to have the baby, and and it was a difficult, I mean, it was challenging because I needed to work around my babies and my other children's needs. So I would work a lot in the evening and nights or early in the morning, and sometimes when the baby was napping during the afternoon. And then when the kids were growing up, I would bring them to school, come back home, and I still do that, and work while nobody is at home. And then at one point I have to stop and go do grocery shopping, come back, cook. I mean, I need to do the life of the mother and wife, but also I need to fill in the gaps with my work, and the work is growing, and I have more and more time to dedicate to it. So on one side it's hard, but on the other side is also fulfilling. Since I'm the parent who has more time to bring the kids to school and do the things around the house. Many people perceive me as a housewife who doesn't really work. And so I receive lots of requests for help, lots of calls during the day and emails that want to be answered right away because I should be available because I don't do anything. And many people do not realize that I am actually working. And recently I was actually shocked by a conversation that I had with a friend who knows me since a long time. And she at one point she asked me, so now that your kids are less demanding, they need less of you, are you planning to go back to work? And I told her, well, I've been working a long time.
I guess the question is, why work? What does work do for you?
Okay, since I work part-time, I don't sustain the family. The money that I make is mostly for the education of my kids and their upbringing. For sure, without my husband's job, I would not be able to support my family. But I do it anyways because I really like it. I like working on the documents that I do, especially when I work on novels. I really, really enjoy spending my time on my books and on my computer trying to figure out the best words. And I write studying to figure out what is the best way to translate the things. And I also enjoy the accomplishment and the gratefulness of my clients. There are clients who write to me or call me even after months to tell me how my job allowed them to do this and that step. Or some people call me, to friends in Italy call me to say, oh, I read that book, it was fantastic, I really enjoyed it. It really gives me a lot of joy. For the other people that can enjoy, can make can use what I worked on, but also for myself because I feel more accomplished, and I feel that I use my time in a more with the meaning. I don't know.
Beautiful, beautiful. And do any of your friends, are they shocked, like your friends from college, are they shocked when they pick up a book and they see your name
Yes.
on the front? Yeah,
yes, it happened that a friend sent me a picture of the front of the book where it said translator Elisabetta Zaffaroni, and she said, "Is it you? I only know you with this name, but I cannot believe it. I didn't know you were a translator. It's fantastic." And yes, that occasion was really amazing. But yes, at one point I posted on Facebook that the second book was going to be published, and some people wrote back saying, "I didn't know even you translated the first book, which is the one." And they went to buy it, and they wrote me sometimes later telling me, I liked it, you need to go on. So it's really beautiful to.
Now the last question, how has your faith influenced the way that you look at your work, or has it?
for sure, the education that I received in the church, and in particular through the charism of CL, helps me appreciate the work that I do, and not get frustrated if I don't accomplish what I have in my mind, but because I know that it doesn't depend on me. Yes, I can make a lot of effort, but in the end, it's not in my hands. And it's not in my hands if I have a certain number of clients or not, or if I do the job that I like, or something that is more boring. And so, luckily, I know I'm helped to live my work, because I know that in the end, that is not what makes me who I am. You understand? It is not that is actually. Luckily, that is not what makes me, that defines me. Otherwise, when the friend says, well, I didn't even know that you worked, really would make me sad.